on Monday and it's not going to be on Wednesday, then
It must be Tuesday.
there you go. We're in the building. You already know the vibes. Down in sports, in your face, in your eye, left-handed, right here, right, and over there, aka High Ceilings is in the building, aka Joel Embiid's Afro pick is in the house, aka Yada Bears in the building. Listen, we're gonna get busy tonight. Baseball's back, right? We're gonna get the first look at with the Philadelphia Phillies perspective from the perspective of Browski, aka Yada Bear, aka Bryce Harper needs another bat. And we're gonna talk about the Yankees a little bit. Some NBA. We're gonna talk about that because it's getting ready to get into play. We like to call it what playoff positioning time, right, Browski?
Yeah,
We're gonna
12
get into
games.
the NBA Hall of Fame class for 2026 is out. I would put the laugh track up, but I don't want to hurt. I don't want no bad emails. We are in the building. Yada Bears over there. Yada Belsky. What is good? What it look like? How you feel?
I'm good. The weather is changing.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball is back. Um, what more can I ask for? Maybe a couple more wins, but um, still early. It's still early, but
Absolutely.
baseball being back, telling us summer's right around the corner, and we should all just enjoy this baseball season. And
Anything.
college basketball is about to wrap up soon. We down to the final four on both sides, and men and women.
Mm-hmm. We're
Um,
gonna definitely get into that. Yep.
some upset, some folks just standing watching. As people take shots. Um, we got a little bit of Tiger Woods, going off the rails again.
Oh man.
Per usual.
I was hoping you would bring that up, but then again, I was hoping you would. But we're gonna talk. Please, let's not forget about that. Please, we gotta
Yeah.
put that in the show.
It's
Yes.
been a very eventful last week of March type of vibe going around here. But how are you? How things up there?
I'm chilling. I'm watching, Tiger Woods' car flip upside down. I'm watching, some highly regarded, highly heralded college basketball players make some of the most boneheaded mistakes, especially at crucial times. So,
Hmm.
the ACC is kind of like, feeling some kind of way right now. I'm looking at, the Yankees. I'm looking at Aaron Judge strike out 4 times on opening night. But then I'm looking at Aaron Judge with a couple of home runs. The world's not good with me until they get back into the World Series. You already know, Browski. I'm looking at the ABS system, and the Yankees are crushing it. Remember last year, Browski, with the bats, and the Yankees was hitting all those home runs, right?
Yeah, yeah. They had the torpedo bats.
Torpedo, there you go, Kimmy.
Hmm.
That's why I mess with Browski. The torpedo bats. That's so this year. The Yankees, every challenge they win. Every single challenge. I'm like, okay, you're doing what you need to do, but I feel like the umpires are getting played out so bad because this is what they. And look at CB Buckner. He had 2 calls in a row, back to back.
Yeah. Um.
So go ahead, Kimmy. Go ahead.
No. I agree. Yes, this is what we've been calling for, and what the fans, has been sitting there screaming about, watching these games, watching these home plate umps make terrible calls, and now you have the robot there to confirm the terrible call that we've been calling out for years.
Yes.
Accountability. They need to be
Yeah.
held to
Yep.
a higher standard. You control the destinies of these players and these organizations with any wrong call you make, ball or strike.
And it was so bad that the first one he got wrong. And what's kind of crazy about it is that the whole crowd sees it on the scoreboard.
Yeah, no hiding it.
It's yeah, and there's nowhere for you to hide. There's an umpire who made a bad call back to back, right? So basically, to me, Yada, is that what you just said, what we've been saying about these umpires for years, all the way back to Eric Gregg, rest in peace. Bad umpires. Bad umpires. Yes, I'm gonna say it. Right? So now these umpires that now in the league, like where's Angel Fernandez at? Or Angel Hernandez, whatever his name is. He's one of the worst. Right?
Yeah.
Call these dudes out as well deserved. But we are in the building down in sports, man. We got an hour to rock with y'all tonight, man. Y'all the Bears in the house. We're gonna talk about the Final Four because I got some things I want to say.
Go
And,
ahead.
and the comments and opinions left-handed y'all do not reflect on y'all.
That's this guy right there. That's that guy.
Listen, listen. We talked last week about how did North Carolina lower 18-point lead.
Yeah.
Hubert Davis got to go. Hubert Davis stinks. Hubert Davis, all this. Hubert Davis is no good. North Carolina, their record in the NCAA tournament, even though he took them to a final and they lost to Kansas. All right, cool. Here comes Duke is allegedly the antithesis of North Carolina. For everything that North Carolina tries to do, Duke does. And sometimes it's vice versa. Going into this game, this particular game against UConn, a team that has the pedigree, had it back-to-back, can't sleep on it, right? You got two of the most highly heralded basketball players who are brothers, who are playing on the same team, who are doing their numbers against UConn. Till it got late. Till it was something that we like to call crunch time occurs. And in the situation that myself and Yada Bear, we played basketball, we watched basketball. In that scenario, in that situation where you inbound the ball with the lead, only thing you worry about is getting the ball across the line. That's it.
That's it.
They might come to you. You pass, you make one pass, you make another pass, and one of the kids, last name begins with a B and ends with an R. And it's got a ooze in the middle. Made a very Chris Webber-ish. That's how I describe it to my homie. A very Chris Webber-ish type play. Even though the Chris Webber thing was in the finals. This was just as bad. Because you're supposed to know what to do in that situation. And for one of those twins to make that bad play, and it ends up in the hands of the Mullen kid, makes the three, and now
I'm contested, Dre.
the dude's name on Twitter is get your hand up.
Yeah, you're standing right there. Put your
Stand right
hands
there.
up.
And then I'll bust a three in your face. Right? So
There
my
you go.
thing is, this loss was, to me, it was worse than North Carolina. Top seed in the tournament, top seed in the whole tournament.
It was.
Right? So now what's the aftermath? Are the Boozer kids leaving or are they staying? How does John Shire explain this one off? Hubert Davis got fired.
He sure
Excuse me.
did.
Hubert Davis got fired. Right? I'm not calling for nobody to lose their job or nothing like that. All I'm trying to say is put John Shire and Duke under the same scrutiny that you put Hubert Davis under.
You got to.
Right? That's all I'm saying. And we all looked at it, we all watched it. And I said on Facebook, the lead was like 18. It got down to like 7. No, it got down to like 11. I said, Duke cannot grow this.
Yeah.
And then if you notice what happened, let me cook for a second. If you notice what happened in the game, all the little stuff was going UConn's way. All of a sudden, they was coming up with the loose balls. One went out of bounds. Connecticut saved it. It was crazy. They got the lead down, they whittled it down, and then boom, here we go. So again, That's I'm expecting to hear that, and I really didn't hear a lot of that, Browski. Maybe I wasn't listening to the right situations, but I really didn't hear a lot of what happened. You know, why did he? You know, why did he try to make an extra pass in that situation? You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I don't know on your
Yeah.
side. You know, heard if you heard anything. I didn't hear
No,
because we heard
I
how
didn't
you.
really hear anything. They didn't really they didn't really ask that question too.
Mm,
And I didn't hear him ask that question. If they did, he didn't really explain it. When the way I look at it, it was they was not prepared for that situation. That looked like something that they did not discuss in the huddle. You know, the importance of getting this ball in. You know, making sure
like
we
we
have
got no timeouts left.
got
We
no
got no. You
timeouts.
know
Every pass got
what I'm
to be
saying?
crisp. You know,
Mm-hmm.
make the smart pass, make the smart play, and it seemed like that wasn't discussed. It was like, if this option isn't available, then here's the second option, here's the third option. Looked like it was they were just like just winging it, and I was,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what happens when you wing it at the end, and then your man don't put his hands up. Just watch, he just watched the kid take the shot, uncontested, clear
Drained,
shot to the basket, and just drained it, and
drained
just
it.
stood there in disbelief. And I'm looking at him in disbelief, like, why didn't you just put your hands up? Even if he would have still made it, you still contested the shot. You don't know that's the motion of you putting your hands up
Right.
could have threw him off a
Absolutely.
little bit.
Absolutely, Bosky.
And just
Absolutely.
to not do anything at that moment is something that he's going to be asking himself for years. And his people going to be asking, like, yo, what was you out there doing?
Mm.
But I mean, that wasn't the only reason why they lost. You know, they like I said, the play at the end, the sloppiness, not knowing how to close the game. Way like you was up by 18 is unheard of. Is unheard of. So UConn continued to play till the last whistle because that's what championship teams look like. You know, UConn is not far removed from winning the title, and they still have the championship pedigree. And now they're in the Final Four, going against Illinois, a team that a lot of people wasn't really that high up on, but Illinois showed that they are getting it straight out the mud. Like these kids are are showing out in this tournament. And then you got the two other number ones in Michigan and Arizona. Um, if Arizona won the national championship through Bryce, um, can he say he's a part of that team? Does he get
Part
the
of what
same
team? The Arizona
recognition?
team?
Yeah, because you
The
know he
Arizona?
was. Mhm. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, we got our Final Four set. You know, was it the Final Four that everybody picked? Absolutely not.
Right.
It was it the Final Four that we all wanted? Absolutely not. But it's the Final Four that we got,
Mm.
and it's not a bad one.
Nope.
Should be interesting. Um, you know, having Illinois there give you a little spark of new blood. You know, Michigan, Arizona, UConn. You know, these are teams that has been, you know, tiptoeing back and forth. Number one, you know, flopping. You know, this changing spots at the top of the rankings. So we'll see what happens. You know, should be good. Should be good.
Um, talking about the Final Four, you got an Illinois team that comes out of where? The Big Ten.
Yeah.
So again, you know, the Big Ten is, you know, standing on business. Indiana national champions in football,
Football.
and now the Big Ten has a chance to, you know, make a major play here in Indianapolis
Yeah.
for the Final Four. Um, I still think, you know, at what we have left, the only team that I have left in my Final Four is Michigan. I think that, you know, Arizona was, you know, everybody's there, you know, preseason, the consensus number one, and you know, have one of
Mm-hmm.
the best players in the nation and things of that nature. You got the four
Mm-hmm.
best teams. No matter, you know, how we got here, You got the four best teams. You know, Illinois, no
Absolutely.
Cinderellas, no Cinderellas, right?
No.
So that's what you
Mm-mm.
want. That's what you want in the Final Four. There's years we have a George Mason and a Florida Gulf Coast and things of that nature.
Not this year.
Not this year. You know what I'm saying? So it's top heavy. Again, you know, we're gonna have our picks before the end of the show of who we like to see on Monday night. But Browski, let's get into the women's Final Four because this is gonna be bananas. This is what it's supposed to be. And I remember maybe about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, when somebody on this panel, I'm not gonna say no names, said that the women's tournament is going to be way more exciting than the men's tournament. You know what? The women's tournament is way more exciting than the men's tournament. Not no disrespect. The men's tournament had games, the Kentucky game,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the knocking off Duke, but
Yeah.
this, and then you get this Final Four right here, right? The Final
Yeah.
Four that everybody was hoping that they would get. You got the big names, you got the big coaches, you got the big reps, you got the the teams that have been there before. Um, all the matchups, both of the matchups are crazy. So whatever we get on Sunday, because they play the Final Four on Friday, whatever we get
Yeah.
on Sunday is going to be something that everybody's going to watch. What is your thoughts, Browski, and who do you see playing on Sunday night in the national championship game?
Oh man,
Mhm.
both of these games are extremely tough. Um, this year, as I stated every year, this was one hell of a tournament this year. We've seen teams be dominant when they need to be. You know, when it's time to close the game out, they close the game out. They don't play around, try to do nothing cute. It's let's close the door on these ladies so that we can move on to the next stage. It's business. So like when you see number one seed, you expect them to go out on the court and handle business. This is not for play. We out there handling our business, and that's exactly what each one of these number one seeds did throughout the whole tournament. South Carolina being dominant in their bracket, UConn, the defending champions, being dominant in their bracket, and now they faces each other. It's like two titans, Gino versus Dawn. One hell of a coaching matchup right there. You can go either way. Um, Last year's defending champion going against a South Carolina team that seems to always find a way, either in the championship game or around it. No stranger to it at all. And then we look on the flip side. We look Texas versus UCLA.
Mhm.
Madison Booker straight balling the whole tournament. Um, Lauren Betts always a staple of UCLA. You know, she kind of reminds me of like I want to say like a Kevin McHale. Like when
Hmm.
she's down there on that paint, she has every post move possible. She's getting the bucket. She can also shoot a little. She's a great all around player. She's been that way since being at UCLA. She's been the backbone of that team. And I can't wait to see her on the next level. And I can't wait to see her versus this Texas team. Um, it's gonna be great. And you know how like sometimes you be like, oh, I don't want to see number one all four number one seeds in the final four, but this couldn't be denied. These ladies play great basketball throughout the whole
Who
tournament.
said
These are the
who
best of
said
the
they
best.
wouldn't want to, who said they wouldn't want to
I
see
mean,
all the seasons in the
you know
final?
how people they always want to see a Cinderella story. Oh, a 11 seed, a 10 seed, a 7 seed. They always want to see a lower seed go against the big bad number one seed. The number one seed always seems to be the villain in everybody's story.
Hmm.
Well, all four of these, you can't deny this. These are the four best teams in the nation. They showed you throughout this whole season, and then they showed you through this whole tournament why they are the best four teams out there. And now we're going to see who's going to stand over all of them. You know, any one of these teams will be worthy of hosting that trophy. So it's going to be a tough pick, but I can't wait to see how you feel about this Final Four.
Um, like you said, either way, anywhere you go, right? But I feel like South Carolina, they were a team that they was kind of like slept on this season. I didn't really hear a lot about South Carolina. They lost a couple of games, right? You heard more about Texas. You heard more about UCLA. You definitely heard more about UConn. You know what I mean? You heard more a couple of teams. Kentucky, Louisville, Tennessee. But South Carolina just kept doing their thing, and here we are again. Um, Connecticut has been the big bully of the whole situation, undefeated. Um,
38 and 0.
this is going to be the proverbial rubber meets the road game right here. Um, it's going to come down to the. I would say this. It's going to come down to the last 2 minutes because that's how um, great these two teams are, and how evenly matched, and how any turnover, every possession, every dribble, every defensive pick, every defensive set is going to be important. The last 2 minutes of this game, I think if it's close, I think South Carolina could pull it out, but they're going to have to play in bursts. And what I mean by that, Browski, is Connecticut's going to do their thing. AZ's going to do her thing. Sarah Strong's going to do her thing. You know what I mean? But again, if they can keep that to a minimum, kind of, sort of, and then do their thing offensively, I think that South Carolina, if they keep it in the keep it below 60, I think South Carolina can
Mm-hmm.
win. If they keep it below 60, South Carolina can win. Now, UCLA and Texas, this is another game where you got, no disrespect, King Kong versus Godzilla. The immovable object versus the irresistible force, right?
Mm-hmm.
These two teams have been on a collision course. And this is and such as UConn and South Carolina on a collision course. So here we are. And so we started this conversation by saying the women's tournament is better than the men's tournament. And I'm going to say that this season because four number ones,
Yeah.
right? It gets no better than that. The only way it could get better than that, Browski, and watch this. Watch this. The only way it could get better than four number ones being in the final four is four 16 seeds being. That's
I
the
knew it.
only way, Kimmy. The only way. The only way, right? So
Yeah.
again, I feel like we're getting what we deserve
Mm-hmm.
especially in the women's side, yo. No disrespect to what happened on the men's side. I have an announcement to make since before we move on. I'm going to say right now that Arizona is going to win a national championship on the men's side, and South Carolina somehow, some way is going to beat Texas on Sunday night.
Mm. Okay.
What was I getting ready to say? One more thing before we get up out of here on the basketball too. College basketball. Oh, after much thought and much consideration, I have decided at 8:23 p.m. Eastern Time that I will no longer, as of this moment, put the Gonzaga Bulldogs anywhere near the Final Four ever again. I'm marking that my word on this day, March 31st, 2026. I am cut the cord with the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Right? My team is
Oh.
Syracuse, but I've been rocking with Gonzaga for a long time. And the reason why that I'm no longer going to rock with Gonzaga like that, no, just Mark Few, Hall of Fame. We didn't mention Mark Few made it to Hall of Fame. Um, they're getting ready to move to the Pac-12.
Oh, you jumping ship now, so they're not going to be in the whack.
Yeah,
You
pretty
said you
much.
said they're in the
Yeah,
Pac-12
yep.
now.
Yes, well, however, jumping ship, doing the Bobby Valentine mustache, however you want to slice it. I am cutting the cord with Gonzaga. I'm going to be scouting, and I will find another team to support. Right, and when I support the team, I go hard in the paint. Bosky, you know, I go hard in the paint, but I just couldn't find it in my heart to keep going with Gonzaga, and they keep letting me down because again, the schedule that they play in the West Coast Conference,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
exposes itself in the NCAA tournament,
Yes, it does.
right? So,
I'm telling you.
why do I keep putting myself through the misery? You know what I mean? Bosky over here laughing at me the last 3 years. She's been laughing at me because I've been rocking with Gonzaga, right?
I have.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it. No more Gonzaga. Um, Baseball. This is what I want to hear from Bowski. Early in the season, 3 or 4 games in, how are your Philadelphia Phillies doing? Like I already know, but I just want to hear from Bowski.
Um. Well. Well. Not the start that we wanted it to be. I mean, opening day was amazing. Christopher Sanchez came out there, looked great, looked like an ace, did what he was supposed to do. Then things just started to go left. Um, game two, Aaron Nola, mid-season form, just giving up the goods. I
Mm-mm.
thought, we saw some good things in the WBC. He pitched well for Italy. Came back to the states, turned back into a pumpkin, was giving up the goods. I said, "Oh, here." I said, Aaron's back in mid form. Then it just rubbed off right on to Lazardo the next game. The ball was on the tee. Everybody was hitting home runs, doubles, scoring like crazy. That was terrible. And then we, finished it up yesterday. Good old Taiwan Walker, try to
He's
get this
still on the
guy
Phillies.
He's still on
Man.
the team. Yeah, we gave him a stupid contract when we signed him from the Mets. We still gotta pay him. I think we still got one more year with this guy. This may be the last year of Taiwan. Came out
Yeah, he
there.
be
I said,
Marcus.
wow, again, Taiwan looked okay for Venezuela. He looked all right. Come back to Philly, he forgot how to pitch. Again, gave up everything. Was terrible, terrible. Lost the national. Gave up 13 runs to the Nationals. What are we doing? Horrible. Then we flip it to the bats because you thinking, wow, you gave the Nationals 13 runs. You guys must have scored 15. No, no, not even close. Um, Everybody, was going up in arms when Dombrowski made a comment questioning if Bryce Harper is still elite, if he's still that elite player. Well, guess what? When you go 0 for 5 and you suck for the
Mm-mm.
first series of the season, that question now it really makes you think like, wow, was Dombrowski on to something? Is Bryce elite? Is those years behind him? You know, you would think having that question around his head the whole off season, he'll come in this season extremely focused, looking to make an early impact to prove Dave Dombrowski wrong. Well, he's proven him correctly Because right now he's walking in to this current game with a .065 batting average. Struck out. He went over 5 yesterday. Strikeout, weak contact, weak ground balls, grounding in double plays, weak fly outs. It's like he's guessing at the plate. He's not
Mm.
focused. Then we look at the other guys. Trey Turner leading off, not getting on base. Then Kyle gonna strike out because that's what Kyle does. But then Kyle will turn around and hit a 2-run home run, and everybody be fine. Um, the one thing I would say that was like a little light was the bottom of the order was actually producing more than the top half, and the
Mm.
bottom half consists of um, Brandon Marsh, Garcia, um, Justin Crawford. Justin Crawford looks really good, and the decision to bring him up was a great decision. To me, he can be an everyday center fielder. A question was brought up to me like, what's the difference between him and Rojas? And the difference between him and Rojas is the fact that he's more active at the plate. He gets a couple of hits. He gives you long at bats. So you're
Mm.
making the pitcher work, even if he strikes out. Because guess what? He just threw all the junk to him. And then you got Trey coming up. He's setting you up to get you on base because he made the pitcher throw six pitches. Supposed to take advantage of that. So seeing him out there, he looks great on defense out there, knowing where to be at. He tracks the ball well. He know where to be at in center field when the ball goes like left center or right center. He's there to make the play. Today, Andrew Painter started
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
game. First official start. This is what we've been waiting for about almost 3 years, and he was worth the wait. He went 5 innings, 8 strikeouts, 4 hits, no earned runs. Looked amazing. We've been waiting for this kid for about 3 years, and the Tommy John surgery that he had. Thank God that he got it done early than rather than late. He looks good. 6'7", fastball tops out at about 99. Got a good sweeper. He got an arsenal of pitches. Like he throws a lot of pitches, which is crazy. For being that young, for
Mm-hmm.
him to have so many options. Um, but he relies on that fastball. The sweeper is good. The sinker is good. So he has some good pitches. So he looked really good. So I'm really happy to see that. And happy that the fact that the Phillies were able to put a little bit of runs up to support him to, give him that time. But it's still early. We're not. We're from Philly, so of course we're always on the edge when it comes to the Phillies and the Eagles. We're always on edge. It's always the world is about to explode. But it's only the second series. I'm okay right now. I just want a little bit more from Bryce. But, we'll see. What's going on in the Bronx?
Everything and nothing at the same time. I mean, 3 games sweep against the San Francisco Giants. Did we play that well or the Giants that bad? Lost last night to Seattle Mariners 2-1. I'm not mad at what I've seen so far, but again,
Hmm.
I can't. It's 4 games, right? I was really, really tight when Aaron Judge struck out 4 times on opening night. That to me was disgusting. Again, Brosky, you already know I'll be on Aaron Judge, like, you know what I mean? Like, drop fly balls in the World Series. Again, waited for, to see what, we have pitching wise, Garrett Cole and those guys are, trying to work their way back. Cam Schlittler, is the sugar honey iced tea, right? He's continue from how he showed in the postseason last year, so he's pitching for a spot in the rotation. We don't even think about Louis Gill. Um, I just feel like again, let us get back. Opening day is Friday against the Miami Marlins. Our opening schedule is not the toughest in the world, so we should be able to take advantage of that. We swept the Giants. We got to do our thing against Seattle. Then we come home against Miami. Um, what do I say? Salute to Aaron Boone for getting his 700 win as a Yankee manager. That's cool.
Hmm.
Quiet as kept. You have been living off that home run in the ALCS for way too long. Let's keep it green. I'm gonna keep it green with you. The best thing the Yankees have going for them right now is the fact that nobody's really sweating them about not spending no money, Kim Browski. Let me just put it out there. Any other year, Kimmy, any other year, people be cussing what the F is going on. And Yankee land is quiet. Like nobody's
because
tripping, nobody's mad.
because people are now really starting to see the light. The rumblings are now becoming louder. So
Mm.
people are now discussing it. Even though we've been discussing it for almost 2 years, but now, the powers that be are now really talking this thing. You know, if y'all know what we're talking about the upcoming strike, the lockout that's going to happen after this season is starting to pick up more track, and now people starting to think like, oh, well, that's why they didn't make this move because it
Mm-hmm.
was the same thing here. We was making a big push for Bo Bichette, and when he chose to go to the Mets, everybody was like, oh, was heartbroken. But then, when the big wigs start talking and start talking words like labor dispute and
Now,
lockouts and salary cap,
right.
then people start believing like, oh, wait a minute, this little podcast here has been saying this for almost 2 years that hey, we need to be on the lookout because come 2027, 2028, we may not have baseball. So when we see all these teams making these big splashes, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Mets signing these players, they're signing them for this year because we don't know what these teams going to look
Yep.
like in the
That's right.
future because not only will they have a luxury tax that they already have, now we're going to have a salary cap because they want to be fair to everybody because we have certain teams like the Dodgers that are printing their own money in the basement of the stadium and got a straight pipeline from Japan to LA, and they can pay these players $500 million and throw out 300 million, 250 million contracts like they giving somebody $2.50.
Talk about
It's
it.
a problem. So now teams like the Yankees, teams like the Phillies, when you're looking at our teams, it's like what they didn't really make a big splash in free agency is because why would I spend all this money right now? And then when the salary cap hits, I got to figure out who I can pay, who can stay, who gotta go, what's going to happen.
They better
I
be
got to
crazy.
call some of these farm guys up because I can't pay 6 players $200+ million. It's
Let's
going to
go.
look like it's going to look real NBA-ish here in MLB.
Look real NBA.
You can't have 5 players making over 250
Right.
million plus dollars.
And that's right. No doubt.
Exactly. You may be able to have I don't maybe 2 or 3 depending on what that cap number going to be, but it ain't going to be 800 million. I
Right.
can I can
Listen.
damn sure to let you know it ain't gonna be 800 million. You better cut that number in half almost.
And and the teams that like the Baltimore Orioles, they went out and
Mhm.
got Alonzo, which is this as their right to do, right? They're one of those teams that could say, hey, when we get to the end of September, October, the end of the World Series or whatever, and they go to the bargaining table, they're gonna because Angelo's and them. Oh, did they sell a team? They don't spend no money.
No, they don't spend no money. I think they still own them.
And then you got the guy out in California, not the Dodgers, the Angels, Artie Moreno.
Who also don't spend any money.
And when we talk about the Angels, salute to Mike Trout, right? Mike Trout is doing Mike Trout things, right? Salute. We noticed that over here, right? Again, you got owners like the Minnesota Twins. You got owners like the Milwaukee Brewers. Teams that are doing
Cincinnati Reds who don't spend no money.
Teams that are doing it, have to do it on the strength of what their farm systems are doing now. They can kind of like now bring some major league ready talent to the forefront. But now I'm trying to say, who's going to take a pay cut from 400 million to 185 for the sake of the team?
Exactly, because like I said, these contracts are going to look very NBA-ish. We're gonna be seeing a lot of 3 years, 145, 150 million dollar contracts. No more 3 year, 200 million. No more 13 years. We're not gonna be seeing 13
Right.
years anymore. We're gonna be seeing 3 to 5. Shorter contracts, little bit of short money.
I'm hearing you. Yeah, absolutely, because it's got the wealth has got to be spread around, and like so. Do we still get the situations where the teams had to have the added some teams have the added wealth from the salary cap with their TV money because see
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
no that TV money is there. So
Oh,
everybody
definitely.
poverty. Why everybody plead the poverty, but everybody got their own TV network. Everybody got their own TV situation.
And not only that, they also getting the piece of the pie from the streaming. Games on Apple TV, games on Netflix, game on
Mm.
Peacock, game on Paramount Plus, games on the MLB Network, MLB.com, MLB TV. People who have the MLB package added on to their cable bill. They're getting money. They're getting paid. These don't let these owners fool you and start crying broke like they don't have the
The
money.
city email
Okay,
Dombrowski's.
the only thing that's going to be a problem with the owners is is figuring out the number for the cap.
Yep.
That's going to be the main issue because the same number that works for the Dodgers are not going to work for the White Sox. Same number that's going to work for the Reds. It's not going to work for the Mets. Not at all. So that is where we will have our biggest issue at on the owner side, and I think that's going to hold out, make the lockout be a little bit more longer. It don't matter who the arbitrator is. It could be
Hmm.
Jesus. The arbitrator could be Jesus. Okay, when you start talking about money, things get a real funny. So
We
we'll
talk about
see.
taking it out of their pocket, right? So
Exactly.
absolutely. So again, we're at a an impasse. No disrespect to nobody, what they used to call a Mexican standoff. Like no, everybody's standing on their square. Nobody's moving. They're not. The owners not trying to hear nothing. The players
Nope.
definitely not trying to hear nothing. And
Uh-uh.
the fans and the ones who love the people who really love the game for the sake of
They
the
will
game,
suffer.
they're getting squeezed. They're getting squeezed.
Yeah.
So again, enjoy every second of the season because again, and hopefully we're just talking just to be talking because maybe in a scintilla of a chance that something could happen as we get closer to the season because
I hope so.
I hope so too. But again, what we're talking in layman's terms. We're just talking basic, nuts and bolts. Money versus power versus what do you? Who's going to make the first team, the first ones to duck, the first ones to play chicken? Are the players going to act because they're going to be missing time? Those
Yes.
28, 29, 32-year-old guys are going to be 33 and 34. So that's going to diminish their value. So it's
Yep.
the owners are sitting back in the cut. They sitting back in the cut.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not signing you to the money that you would have got if you was 29. You're 31 now.
Right. I'm 31 now. You missed 2 years.
Yeah. So again, it's going to be crazy, and we haven't even scratched the surface. We just talking about it because we love baseball, first of all, and second of all, labor issues and stuff like that hits everywhere. You know what I
Yep.
mean? But when it comes to a thing like the national pastime, we deserve baseball, man. I think that's what I think. I think we deserve it, but we also don't deserve to have one guy on the team making $300 million, and then the other 26 guys on the team making $100 million altogether between them. So it's
Exactly.
crazy. So
Yeah.
they need to figure it out. Somebody needs to come to the table with a solution that can be feasible for both sides. Maybe they might come to a situation where they say, "Hey, we'll stretch it out for another year," but then the
Yeah.
next year we'll be right back to square one. So that's not
Exactly.
that's not going to make sense because they've been stretching it out this long,
Yeah.
right? And the CBA is up after the season. That's it.
Yep.
So they painted themselves into this position, letting so much time go by. You know what I mean? And to me, to an end, and the end is the end of baseball as we know it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Um, and again, we don't hear talk about expansion. We don't hear talk about that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things that's being put on the back burner now because of what's getting ready to pop off. Come once the major league season is over. We got about 15 minutes left. We're gonna talk some NBA for a few, and then we're gonna get down on it because that's Browski's favorite part of the show. What's your Sixers looking like, Browski? What kind of playoff position they trying to deal with?
Well, I mean, the Sixers have pulled off a scam.
Uh
They
oh.
they scammed the NBA.
Uh oh.
Somehow they are able to end the season with our three stars healthy. We was able to stay around
Wait
that
a minute.
40, was able to stay around that 40 game mark. We're hovering around the seventh seed right now. Um, a game, 2 games back of the sixth seed from Atlanta, 3 games back of the fifth seed of Toronto, with 12 days left. Um, I feel like
There's that. There's
they are
that. There's that.
sucking me back in. They are like they. This is what the Sixers do. They will start out looking great, give you joy, and like, oh my God, maybe this is the year. Then everyone gets hurt. We miss significant time, and we're like, oh, this is regular Sixers season. We're not going to make the playoffs. So then you look at the stand, and you're like, wait a minute. They're still hovering around the seventh seed. Paul George is back from the suspension. All of a sudden, Joel Embiid is healthy and he's able to play.
Uh
And
oh.
then,
It's a
out
miracle.
the blue, a guy who they was basically saying his pinky finger was holding on by some bubblicious bubble gum. All of a sudden, it was a miracle. His finger's actually okay, and he can play. He's healthy. And then the other guy, one of our best wing defenders, who they said elbow fell out. He can't play. Oh well, my God, is that Kelly Oubre out on the court with two-tone hair, looking healthy? Wow, these guys are back. These guys are playing well. With VJ still playing good too, and they're 3-1 since the old band came back. They are, like I said, 2 games back with 12 days left. Oh my God, we may be able to make it to the sixth seed
Oh,
and
boy.
avoid the play-in. And oh my God, when we look at this Eastern Conference that we both know very well, and we both see, it is kind of wide open. There's no really true dominant team in the Eastern Conference. Cade Cunningham is done, so Detroit has now became a regular team. They most likely, whoever the matchup is from the number one and eighth seed, that they might be bounced out. Um, Boston, still a juggernaut. Tatum's back again, another miracle. He's back like he never left before. Um, the Knicks, we see what the Knicks look like. The Knicks is a seesaw team. We don't know what we may get. They may be consistently good, or they might be consistently bad, or they might be so. Flip, flip the coin. You don't know what you may get. And then what you got? Cleveland. They don't play defense. Toronto, and then Atlanta. So we still got a chance to make it to sixth seed. I think if we make it to the sixth seed, this will make the playoffs really interesting because I feel like a lot of these teams counted the Sixers out due to injuries and things like that. And now,
Sprowski, go ahead and
and now
say
that,
it. If the
and
playoffs
now that
start
we got it
today,
back,
if the
hey, I
playoffs
gotta
started today,
believe again. I gotta believe a little bit. They suckered me back in.
look at
That's why I
this.
got the hat on, and they suckered me back in, and now I'm back. So I'm a glad. Look,
Yo,
uh, I know that when the disappointment hits, it's gonna hit me because it's my own fault. But
mm-mm.
right now, I'm rocking with them. They
I
got me
feel you.
back.
All
I'm
right.
believing.
Okay.
How you feel about your Knicks? Y'all clinch y'all
Um,
spot?
listen, I feel like right now, 7-3 in our last 10. I got to take that. We got 7 games left to go in the season. We're 2 games behind Boston for the second spot, 1 game ahead of Cleveland. So I think our focus is to hold on to that third spot, drop no lower than a fourth. If the season was over today, we would play Atlanta in the first round. If we drop down to the fourth seed, right, we would play Toronto, or probably Atlanta again because they're going to probably flip flop. They're tied at 11 and a half games back for the fifth and the sixth seed. Um, Now is about time when it's time to collect on all those wolf tickets people have been selling about the Knicks. I'm still a believer in Mike Brown. I'm still a believer in Jalen Brunson. Am I a believer in Carl Anthony Towns? That depends on what day you ask me, right? Am I still a believer in the Bridges kid? Absolutely. Am I still a believer in OG Ananobi? Yes, sir. Um, but now it's just time for them to show up. They got no excuses, no area to fall back on. You got to go and do what you need to do. Um, you got enough rope, enough leeway. Um, Started off with no Jason Tatum, no Tyrese Halliburton, whoop de whoop. So now you end up with no Tyrese Halliburton, Kate Cunningham. But you got Jason Tatum, you got Joel Embiid, you got Tyrese Maxey, right? To
Mm-hmm.
a certain degree, you got the Atlanta Hawks who've been playing really, really good basketball. Jonathan Kuminga and them and doing their business since Trey Young left,
Mm-hmm.
right? You got the Sixers that's all of a sudden, they pulled off the scam of the millennium. You know what I mean? Pulled off all the fake casts and the fake wheelchairs and all of that. You know what I mean? So again, the East is definitely up for grabs. The West is another thing. Now it's the time to kind of like get that laser focus on the San Antonio Spurs. The Oklahoma City Thunder are definitely going to step up now because it's playoff time now. The best of the West is like, we know that the Western Conference Finals are going to be Oklahoma City and San Antonio, right? You don't think
I
so,
can't.
Bosky?
I can't. I can't deny what the Nuggets are doing. And as much as I hate to say, I can't deny what the Lakers are doing. LeBron falling in line and realizing that this is Luca's team. You gotta play Luca's pace. Um, can't deny that too. But something about these Nuggets and Joker, like the Spurs, they own OKC. I don't really trust OKC that much this year. Too much front running. They front ran for the past 2 seasons. It paid off last year. I don't know about this year. I can definitely see San Antonio in the finals, but I just don't count the Nuggets out too much. That's all I have to say. It's just the
All right,
Nuggets.
and we're gonna get down on it. Go ahead, Broski. We got like 5 minutes. What you getting down on?
All right. Well, we probably will talk about the same thing real quick. Get then on the NBA Hall of Fame. They just
Oh yeah,
announced who's
let's
going to
go.
be in the Hall of
Go
Fame.
ahead, Broski, you go.
Um,
Hey, go ahead, bang out.
you know, Candace Parker, well deserved. Championship, champion on all levels. Olympic gold, the whole shebang. Elena Deladon, same great WNBA career, fantastic collegiate career, gold medal winner. Doc Rivers, cool. He had a really good professional career as a player and as a coach. Championships, things like that. Created a whole system with the Clippers. Lob City was exciting, exciting basketball, Won the championship with Boston. Great. Then we look at the next name, Amari Stoudemire. Now, now the three other names that I named before, very accomplished players on all levels. Then we get Amari Stoudemire. I need somebody to tell me what has Amari Stoudemire accomplished in his NBA career. What championships has he won? What records have he broken? What difference in the game has he made? Was he a game disruptor? Did they had to change a rule because of him? Did he, found a new niche in some way in basketball that was like, oh my God, this guy, Maurice Stoudemire, is a pioneer in this particular thing in basketball. So y'all can point that out to me. Then I'll be like, hell yeah, Maurice Stoudemire should be in the Hall of Fame. Right now, I'm like, hell no. The NBA Hall of Fame is now turning into a joke, and it's like now a participation Hall of Fame because you play basketball in the NBA doesn't make you eligible to be in the Hall of Fame. So I can't see how Amari Stoudemire can stand next to guys like Shaquille O'Neal, Dikembe Mutombo, Hakeem Olajuwon, Will Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. All of these great centers or power
Opposite.
Tim Duncan, the power forward, who played in those roles and say, yeah, this guy right here did just as much as I did too in the league. I don't know. I think it's crazy. How you feel about this Hall of Fame class?
Browski, you said everything. I don't even got, you know what I mean. It's just I would just be reiterating the words that you said. Respect due to Elena Deladon, respect due to Candace Parker, the most deserving.
Yeah,
Like we talked about it behind the scenes. And real quick, we got like 30 seconds. We talked about it behind the scenes, and it's like when you have your no doubters. Candace Parker, you look at her and you say, "Oh, she's a no doubter." Amari Stoudemire, not so much. Right? That's all we're saying. No disrespect to the man in his career. You know what I mean? But Hall of Fame worthy? I don't know. Down in sports, we're in the building. Myself, left-handed at RM Desk on Twitter, which is this right now. And then over there, you got Yada Bear, a.k.a. High Sailors. We'll get back at y'all next Tuesday, talk a little bit more baseball, talk a little WNBA. See now they got their situation taken care of a little bit. We out. Down in sports, we out. Talk to y'all later.